The atmosphere surrounding this matchup carries an intensity that is palpable from the very moment. The conversation turns to what Dallas must correct and what Kansas City brings to the table. A short week like this compresses every aspect of preparation, making every practice rep, every walkthrough, and every adjustment feel magnified. Players arrive with sore muscles and minor injuries that are suddenly more impactful, because there is no time to reset or recalibrate. The usual rhythm of game preparation is replaced with a rapid-fire approach where focus, execution, and resilience define the narrative before a single kickoff, even without the classic throwback uniforms gracing the field. There is a distinct sense that this is not just another game. Both franchises have high expectations every season, and they understand just how thin the margin for error becomes. When facing an opponent of this caliber, Dallas enters wearing its alternate uniforms, a subtle signal of a different energy, and carries with it several injury questions that could tilt the dynamics on either side of the ball, depending on who can take the field and who cannot. Among the most pressing concerns remains Tyler Guyton, whose status shifted quickly from doubtful to out after early indications hinted that his condition was trending in a negative direction. Caden Carson also saw his situation evolve unexpectedly. What initially seemed like a minor cramping issue has developed into a more complicated concern, with a hamstring flare-up forcing the team to consider alternatives. Short week limitations combined with soft tissue injuries create a scenario where confidence in execution is difficult to maintain and rotations may be altered, putting additional stress on the defense in ways Dallas would prefer to avoid. Outside of these two, the injury report remains manageable, with several players moving from limited to limited again. But overall indications suggest that the roster is close to full strength if Dallas hopes to survive the physical demands of this game. Every available player will need to contribute. Kansas City is navigating its own set of challenges. Losing Noah Gray and Trey Smith is significant, particularly with Smith acting as one of the internal stabilizers on their offensive front. Backup corner Chris Roland Wallace has moved from full participation to limited, raising some caution. Yet the remainder of the roster practicing fully suggests the Chiefs retain more consistency in terms of availability. Nevertheless, a Thursday night contest does not accommodate partial health or lingering injuries by this stage of the season. Nearly every roster is carrying some degree of strain, and a quick turnaround exposes every weakness. The determining factor becomes who can endure the accumulated fatigue, and which coaching staff can adapt with the quickest efficiency beyond the injury implications. The on-field matchups start to define the story immediately. The Cowboys' pass rush emerges as a focal point against the Chiefs' offensive line that has gradually shown vulnerabilities. Every quarterback struggles under consistent pressure, and Patrick Mahomes is no exception. While he is one of the most adept at navigating collapsing pockets, sustained disruption forces him into a more human performance level, one where mistakes are possible and the margin for error narrows. Dallas interior defenders, led by Ezra and rotational linemen, must collapse the pocket effectively, particularly targeting areas where Mahomes feels most pressure. Inconsistent pass protection from players like Josh Simmons and alignment issues with Jawan Taylor create opportunities for Dallas to tilt the balance early. Early dominance in the trenches could fundamentally change the narrative of the game. Strategically, the approach to defending Mahomes and his receiving corps requires careful adjustment. Historical data shows that he is less effective against man coverage, with completion percentages and yards per attempt dropping when challenged in isolated matchups. Timing-based defenses like Kansas City's rely heavily on spacing and rhythm, which man coverage disrupts, while Mahomes can still make plays against tight coverage. Man-to-man defense forces the offense to win individual battles rather than exploiting zone gaps. Rashee Rice's dominance against zone coverage last week serves as a reminder of this impact, as his efficiency fell significantly once defenses switched to man. Limiting these opportunities is a priority, even at the risk of conceding occasional deep plays internally. The challenge intensifies with disruptive players like Chris Jones, whose ability to affect the pocket without registering sacks remains elite. His presence demands constant communication, disciplined positioning, and physical execution from Dallas interior linemen, including Booker, Smith, and Biotish. Each adjustment by Kansas City, from shifting Jones along the line to testing specific matchups, requires the Cowboys to remain anchored mentally and physically to prevent small mistakes from becoming game-altering plays. Meanwhile, the chess match between Dak Prescott and Steve Spagnuolo unfolds with high stakes. Spagnuolo has built a career on disguised pressures, and creative blitz schemes, forcing quarterbacks into uncertainty. Historically, Prescott thrives against the blitz. Yet this matchup emphasizes quick reads and decisive execution. The Chiefs' current inability to generate consistent pressure, despite blitz attempts, adds complexity, meaning Prescott must exploit his timing and pre-snap reads efficiently. Any hesitation could result in lost momentum, while decisiveness creates a high-impact offense capable of controlling the game. First down runs and early down execution will also play a critical role. Kansas City's defense has quietly improved in stopping first down rushing attempts, forcing offenses into challenging second and third down situations. Dallas must establish early ground success to open passing opportunities and prevent the Chiefs from dictating the pace and tempo. Small gains early in the game can cascade into sustained offensive control, whereas being stifled could amplify Kansas City's structural advantages and limit Dallas' ability to execute its game plan effectively. Individual matchups continue to shape the narrative. Donovan Wilson carries the responsibility of containing Travis Kelce, who, despite reduced separation, remains a high-level route technician able to exploit minor defensive errors against man coverage. Kelce's impact diminishes but does not vanish entirely, and Wilson must anticipate leverage points to prevent him from gaining momentum. Meanwhile, CeeDee Lamb faces the expectation of producing in key moments, with efficiency metrics still favorable, but pass drops looming. The offense relies on his ability to make decisive, reliable plays throughout the night. The emergence of Pickens adds complexity, as coverage decisions by Kansas City will determine which receiver becomes the focal point of each drive. The defensive backfield must maintain discipline against sophisticated offensive schemes. Don Bland faces pressure to balance aggressiveness with technique, countering the Chiefs' use of rub routes and pick concepts. Xavier Worthy's horizontal speed provides a threat to containment-focused defenders, while Rashee Rice's leverage-based attacks further challenge defensive discipline. Kansas City relies on these spacing and motion tactics to create openings, forcing defenders to maintain focus, communication, and physicality on every snap. Edge battles also carry significance. Nate Thomas' matchup against George Karlaftis becomes critical, as Karlaftis provides the primary source of pressure for the Chiefs. Neutralizing him even partially offers Dallas a structural advantage and enables strategic protection adjustments elsewhere. The pressure from the edge is limited beyond Karlaftis, allowing Dallas to focus resources intelligently. Ultimately, the game hinges not on individual heroics, but on unique cohesion and adaptation to Mahomes' unpredictable plays. Linebackers and safeties must treat each snap as incomplete until resolved, resisting the urge to hesitate or overcommit. Mahomes' ability to extend plays and exploit minor defensive lapses requires constant awareness, disciplined pursuit angles, and proactive communication. The Cowboys' defense must absorb chaos without surrendering structure or timing. Kansas City's motion and horizontal spacing further complicate defensive responsibilities. Quick, imperfect decisions by defenders can open lanes for receivers even if they are not the most physically dominant. Aggressive man coverage with tight jams at the line can disrupt timing, but requires precision, balance, and confidence from defenders like Bland to prevent exploitation by quick releases and leverage manipulation. Discipline is key, as the margin for error against a quarterback of Mahomes' caliber is virtually non-existent. Offensively, Dallas carries its own pressures. Prescott has displayed sharp play throughout the season, yet lapses in rhythm or stalled drives can prove costly in a game. Demanding constant scoring pressure, establishing early tempo, utilizing quick passes, play action, and isolating defenders in space is essential to prevent Kansas City from dictating the geometry of the field and forcing errors. Early down execution, particularly on first and second downs, determines whether Dallas avoids third and long situations, which would place the offense at the mercy of Spagnuolo's creativity. Red zone efficiency remains a focal concern. The Cowboys often struggle once the field compresses, where spacing tightens and precision becomes critical against the Chiefs' defense skilled at forcing field goals. Turning long drives into touchdowns is essential. Lamb must play a central role, supported by tight ends who can win leverage battles against Kansas City's safeties and linebackers. Failing to convert scoring opportunities into touchdowns risks falling behind a team capable of controlling the game with minimal possessions. As the game progresses, the battle in the trenches will likely set the tone for the evening. The Cowboys' offensive line must contend with shifting fronts, delayed stunts, and interior pressure from a Chiefs defense that thrives on disruption. Each lineman's assignment carries consequences, not just for the quarterback, but for the timing and spacing of every route. Communication and anticipation are paramount, as the slightest hesitation can turn a manageable play into a turnover or lost yardage. At the same time, the defensive front must maintain discipline against misdirection and screen plays that aim to exploit aggression. Every snap becomes a test of reaction speed, awareness, and physical endurance, especially as fatigue accumulates through the night. The running game for Dallas will be crucial in balancing the attack and keeping the Chiefs' pass rush from dictating the game. Establishing the ground attack early not only opens up the passing game, but also forces the defense to respect multiple threats simultaneously. Even modest gains can shift leverage, enabling Prescott to operate with more rhythm and confidence. Schottenheimer's defense has become adept at limiting early down gains, making every yard on the ground critical. Success or failure in these initial stages directly impacts how manageable the second and third down situations will be, and the Cowboys' ability to control the line of scrimmage may define the overall flow of the contest. Receiver matchups will also play a pivotal role, with CeeDee Lamb and the emerging Pickens expected to create consistent separation against a disciplined Kansas City secondary. Lamb carries the expectation of producing in high-pressure situations, requiring not only skill but focus, quick decision-making, and precise route execution. Pickens' involvement adds an additional layer of strategic complexity, as coverage adjustments by the Chiefs could alternate the primary target on consecutive snaps. Each play will test the receiver's ability to read leverage, exploit spacing, and maintain timing with Prescott, who will need to adjust on the fly to defensive shifts and disguise coverages. Donovan Wilson and the rest of the defensive backs are tasked with controlling the dynamic movements of Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and other receivers capable of manipulating leverage and space. Wilson must anticipate routes, read the quarterback's eyes, and position himself to influence outcomes before the ball arrives. Bland's responsibility extends beyond containment. He must ensure alignment, maintain balance, and resist overcommitting against quick stems or inside releases. Each defender's ability to execute assignments with precision affects the broader defensive scheme, dictating whether Kansas City can exploit timing gaps or whether the Cowboys maintain structural integrity. Special teams will play a subtle but impactful role as well. Field position, kickoff returns, and coverage responsibilities can influence the tempo of the game and force offenses into challenging scenarios. Dallas must maintain focus, discipline, and clean execution to avoid gifting momentum through mistakes in this often overlooked aspect of the game. The interplay between offensive, defensive, and special teams performance will cumulatively shape how effectively Dallas can respond to the chaos Mahomes generates. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. In what is already being whispered as one of the most shocking moves of the season, the Dallas Cowboys are reportedly closing in on a deal that could redefine their defensive identity. Sources close to the organization suggest that the team has agreed to acquire a pass rusher whose arrival is expected to completely transform the Cowboys' defensive front. While neither side has officially confirmed the details, insiders are buzzing that this isn't just another addition, it's a statement. The player in question, widely regarded as one of the league's most disruptive forces off the edge, has a reputation for turning ordinary defensive schemes into nightmares for opposing quarterbacks. Analysts are already speculating that his presence could force rival offenses to rethink their approach entirely. The mere hint of his potential arrival has sparked intense chatter among fans and pundits alike, with social media lighting up with reactions ranging from disbelief to cautious optimism. For a franchise known for its storied history and occasional defensive struggles, the move signals a bold, almost aggressive intent. The Cowboys' front office seems determined to address long-standing questions about their pass rush, and insiders claim that this acquisition could be the catalyst that finally elevates the team to a new level. Rumors suggest that the negotiations were intense, with multiple teams reportedly vying for the coveted player. But the Cowboys' vision of a revitalized defense may have ultimately won the day. As always with high-profile NFL moves, skepticism remains. Fans are cautious, knowing that talent alone doesn't guarantee instant transformation. Yet, the buzz is impossible to ignore. Stadiums, social media forums, And sports talk shows are already rife with speculation about how the new pass rusher will fit into the Cowboys' schemes. Could he be the missing piece that propels the defense into elite territory? Or will the pressure of expectations prove too heavy, leaving the franchise with yet another near miss, whatever the outcome? One thing is certain, the NFL landscape is paying attention. Rival teams are now recalculating their strategies, and Cowboys faithful are dreaming of a defensive resurgence that could reshape the league's balance of power if the rumors hold true. This could be more than just a signing, it could be the start of a new defensive era in Dallas. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.